light on it to other people. I like it in terms of like talking shit as well, but I also want to add information. So we're live. Oh,
I shouldn't have said anything.
Oh, thank you. All right, we're live.
All right. So let me just double confirm. Quadruple confirm. We're live. The energy has shifted.
Yeah,
right now it's like,
girl, it's okay. Let's be civil for real quick.
That's funny. Yeah, we up. So keep talking, Jazz. I mean, you were talking about the things you want to talk to in your podcast.
Yeah, just bringing other people's. I don't like the word expertise, but more of an expert on certain topics. So let's say for you, example, I mean, I know you are an expert probably at different topics, but the one I'm aware of is astrology.
Expert.
Well, more than the same me, right? Like
yeah,
you have knowledge.
It's an interest. It's an interest.
Yes, like you do your homework on it, you research it, you keep yourself up to date on it. And to bring that side of your enlightenment to other people is really my mission. Or let's say if they want to do a reading with him, if they want to dive into their own horoscope and whatever planets they're in, Dariel can break it down into what the planets symbolize based off of their birth date, right? The day,
I didn't even know that about you. That you
I
knew
love
astrology like that. So that's dope.
That's why I'm doing a podcast every week.
See? Yeah.
Yeah.
On astrology, that makes sense.
I slowly want to see if I include like the weekly forecast per se.
See?
And I want to invite different astrologers. So it's a different, I haven't seen it online. I haven't seen that concept of like, oh, we're going to do the forecast for the week, but I'm also bringing guest astrologers. So I'm getting like a different perspective. I'm getting like different perspectives all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
And, you know, I'm not looking forward to the day where I don't have a guest that day and it's just me on camera.
Hey.
That's scary. Have you done any podcasts by yourself?
I have. I've done, probably most have been by myself.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. And
I'm like scared shitless of
yeah,
that.
but I don't do video. I haven't. I've done like IGTV and like TikTok. So yeah, I've done those where I'm like on there and I'm talking or whatever. But most of like my audio, I've had a couple guests like friends, and then most of them though I think have been me just blabbing by myself.
Is it just something you're feeling and you know what you just want to release something, or do you have it?
I don't have it planned out. I've been very bad at like, because I'm not good with like premeditative. I feel like it's forced for me.
Yeah, no, authentic.
Like I'm like, oh, Wednesday we're gonna like. To me, it's like, what if I blink out that day? What if I don't have nothing to talk about with that topic that day?
Right, I agree.
So it's like usually like if I read a book maybe, and let's say the book, like made me think about something, and then now I'm like, I could get really into this. Like, let's talk about that. Or if I'm, see something's going on in the world and I want to like express my views on it. I'm like, all right, we're going to talk about that. Or something that I'm just learning about and I want to share with everyone else. I'm like, whatever. So
that's important. I think because it's being in that raw moment of emotion. Like you're being driven by that topic, by that occurrence that happened in your life, and boom, sharing it. Because I think a lot of people don't get that perspective, right? That raw thought process.
Yeah.
Everyone is so filtered in so many different ways in the world that to be able to just spit that out there.
Scripted. I've seen people where they like write out points.
No, okay, I can't do that.
And like I you know, I'm like that works for some people, but I'm like that doesn't work for me. I'll have an idea of like I would with this person, maybe I want the conversation to go in this direction, but like it ends up going
somewhere
there.
else.
I'm like, let's go there then. Fuck it, like you can't.
Yeah, but I feel like it takes something. I mean, I guess just being used to it also, but like to be able to just like not stop talking when you're by yourself, or like speaking out loud, because who speaks out loud to themselves?
That's true.
So it's like an acquired skill. You do.
I do.
That's probably why.
It's an acquired skill, so I think it's nice.
True.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm gonna have to like.
You will though.
Once you do it though, you'll be surprised how you could just keep going.
Yeah.
Like I thought, I'm like, what if I run out of stuff to say and there's like a pause in there, and next thing I know it's been like 57 minutes and I'm like, whoa, I need to shut up. I'm gonna have to split this into like 2 parts. Like no one's gonna listen to me for an hour just talking, and I've done that. I have some episodes where it's like part 1, part 2, because I was like, I kind of want. I'm a talker though. I used to get in trouble at school for talking a lot. Like I was that kid where my teachers would move me. And they're like, she does not stop talking. I move her from her friends, and she talks to everyone else. And I'm like,
I'm just this is
this is what I do.
What's your sign?
I'm a Pisces.
And
What?
rising,
I
that's right.
would've
You're
thought-
Pisces sun, Scorpio moon, Virgo rising.
Oh wow.
Virgo rising. I
Interesting.
guess
Yeah.
Virgo rising. Virgos are talkative.
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
more,
Virgos
I
talk
I've
a
met
lot.
so many diverse Virgos that
Yeah.
I can't really put my finger on a
Yeah.
specific trait like that.
Yeah.
but
I think they're kind of maybe a little. Some of them start off kind of like
To themselves.
timid,
Yeah.
but I know once you get them going, I feel like they.
It's a lot.
can
It's
go.
it's not just the sun sign, but anyway.
Yeah.
So what do you,
Yeah.
Fabi? What do you? What's your podcast about?
It's also not really about a specific thing. It's Chats
Mhm.
with Fab, and it's just I like to just talk about everything. I like to talk about whatever it is that's going on. I've talked about like serious topics like mental health and like dealing with things like that. I've talked about like just things that I've been going through. Like when I graduated college, I didn't want to walk the stage. I did like an episode on that,
Okay.
like why I didn't want to walk the stage, and my my views on that. And it's just about whatever like it is that's going on. I like to talk to people who have like different perspectives than I do, just to like share perspective. I like to talk about. I want to talk about everything. I want to talk about sex. I want to talk about like the unconventional stuff. I want to talk about spirituality. I want to talk about like medicine. I want to talk about like alien. I want to talk about just everything.
Uh-huh.
I don't.
Yeah, we
I
share
thought
that.
about-
All three of us share that.
Yeah, I thought about like, oh, should I focus on like women empowerment or should I focus on this spirit? But I'm a very multifaceted person,
Yeah.
so it's like I'm interested about a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that make me. So I'm like, it's just an open
Yeah.
space to talk about whatever it is that's.
Like this podcast right here.
Yeah.
No
Mhm.
direction.
No, we just flowing.
That's it.
Inward.
We just,
Inward to infinity and
we
beyond.
just going.
I think short technical break here. I think I'm out of focus here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You or us?
No, me.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
it says on that camera. Can one of you sit there so I can focus?
Sit.
Technical fixing here. Is
Intermission.
It's all good.
Tune in shortly. Am I looking at it?
We'll be right back after these messages. Everyone's like.
I couldn't even tell.
Yeah, this camera sucks. I think it's more focused there. Thank you very much.
You're
And we're back.
We're back. We need some water too.
I
That's
enjoy
cool.
shit like that. Like
Yeah.
if I'm watching something, I'm like, look, they be fucking up too. Like, my podcast doesn't have to be perfect. Like
to put that perfection
Yeah.
face on is ridiculous.
perfectionism is
I hope.
crippling sometimes.
Yeah, one of the major things about this project that I'm creating is like authenticity. You know, if you cuss, then
Cuss.
rip it because that's the real you. And I think
Yeah.
what sells the most online or in general is people
Yeah.
and their authentic selves.
Absolutely.
So it's something that I've been working on personally, and I'm like, okay, I gotta
Yes.
make this about that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who I bring on, I just want them to be themselves.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that.
And people that I collaborate with, it's like, okay, how can we both grow and how can we just do what we like? And we got 3 podcasters here today.
Yes.
Starting podcasters.
I know. That's so
pretty cool.
dope.
So why podcast?
Ooh. My opinion, I was gonna say, I don't know. To me, it's I guess I like words. I'm a very wordy person / poet / reader. Yeah, wordsmith. There we go. We're throwing that out. So to be able to, I think being able to articulate your words from your mind in a proper way is a big deal. That I think is very underrated, and I think many people have a lot of knowledge and may not have the ability to transcribe it clearly or coherently or calmly. And so to be able to have people that have so much knowledge as ourselves to share that with the world and just put it out there, right? Whether they see it or not, doesn't matter. It's a matter of giving them access to that, I think is beautiful. And what not better way than words, right? You can have images, you can have all these perfect ways of showing the world things, but I think with the verbal word, you can only audit it so much. Like you can have the topics lined out, but I'm not going to edit everything you're saying. So let's just run it raw. So it's raw, it's information, and it's growth. And it's not like, okay, let me touch up this blemish on this picture and this and that. Words, are just, once they're out, they're kind of out. So
That's it.
and people that also are working, driving, this and that, they have that ability to bring on that knowledge. So I don't think it's really an excuse to, I don't have time to pick up a book and hear a different perspective or read a different perspective. It's like, all right, it's there. It's accessible.
Yeah, it's very accessible.
Yes.
Yeah. And also it's like so many interesting people. And it takes like, I would say like what we've mentioned, like liking so many different things to be able to talk to so many different people about so many different things. Not everybody could do that.
That's true.
You know, so I think it also takes that and having that curiosity and interest to learn and find and like this person's so amazing. Like I want the world to hear them. You know? So I like that a lot too from podcasting. And
even yourself as a host, like you're having them live in front of your face, and yeah, you may know a bit about them, but once you hear them open up more, you're learning yourself. And what better way than to have that person right in front of you? If anything, I'm growing and I'm learning the most out of it, but then again, wanting to share that with the world, because I don't think there's anything more powerful than knowledge or just being open to different perspectives. Because I think you have it all set in one way, you're completely delusional in that regard. So when you hear other people, you're just like, oh, I didn't think of that.
That part.
So, but yeah, that's my perspective.
Yeah.
Why'd you get into podcasting, Faby?
Mine, not a long story, but it's a little bit of a story. My mom used to work in a radio station when I was little. She worked at a radio station in San Jose. And I remember, like, going to visit her one time. And, like, I went into the booth and I was, like, on air. And I thought that shit was, I was little. I was, like, 5, 6 years old maybe. And when I was younger, I would like get my little like tape players, my CDs, and I'd be like,
awesome.
Who do you want to listen to? Oh, Selena? Okay. And then the people are crying. I would just like pretend.
Nice.
And then like you grow up and you kind of like, I'm cool now and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And like I kind of like steered away from that. Like I didn't really think that I wanted to do that. And I don't know when it was. I was in college and there was like a moment in my life where I was getting so many compliments on my voice, like very
I've
specifically.
complimented you on your voice.
Yeah, people like it's something and I hated my voice.
Or just being raw too, like your ability to go full force.
I don't know
if
it's me talking, like, but people are always like, "Do you sing? Do you like you have a very interesting voice, or your voice, and I would hear myself and I'd be like, oh my god, I hate my voice, like ew, it's manly, it's this, it's that, and then I just was kind of like, okay, maybe I do have a good voice. I like to talk. My major's communications. Like,
wow,
what should I? And then I remembered. I was like, my mom. I feel like it's almost like in me a little bit. Like my mom used to do this. I remember enjoying this when I was little. Took a radio TV broadcasting class. Everyone in there was like, you have a voice for radio. You should do this, that, and I just was kind of like, okay. I find myself always in these interesting conversations with people wherever I go. If I'm at a party, if I'm in class, if I'm with my friends, I'm just always in these conversations, and I'm always thinking like, we should record this. Like, this shit is deep. Like, we should record this.
Conversations have
Imagine if all those
went
would be
into
recorded.
limbo,
Oh
right?
my
And I just was
content
like,
for days,
man. And I started doing that. I started recording myself on my phone, me just talking to myself, and then I was like, these need to be like, I need to make a podcast. I've been thinking about podcasting since like 2014, 15. Like, not to say anything, but I feel like I was thinking of a podcast before they really became a thing. And I have friends who have told me, they're like, Faby, like that was some visionary shit. Like I remember you talking about a podcast years ago. And I never like pursued it right away, which I'm like pissed off about. But I started it in 2019.
Nice.
And I've kind of taken a little bit of like, I haven't recorded since like last year, so it's been a little bit of like a hiatus, but I feel like I'm ready to talk my shit again. So
is there a reason you took like a step back? Do you feel, is it anything specific with it, or just like
not with it? It was an internal thing. I felt like it was going good. I was kind of on a roll. I had like 10, 11 episodes up, and then I think my move, the pandemic, just stuff. I was kind of like in a just a weird space, and I kind of wanted to just get it together. But now I feel like I'm being called, like I feel like I have a lot to share within everything that's just been happening. I feel like new episodes coming soon.
Let's go.
Chatswfab.
Season 2 comes soon. Just wait on it. It's coming.
Resurrection.
Yes. And I'm glad. I feel like I got people now. Like I want y'all my shit too and stuff. So
let me know whenever.
I'm excited. I'm
Hell
Yes.
yeah.
This was also like an affirmation. Like I'm like, podcast. And I was like, okay, like, come on, Faby.
Universe
like,
is telling you now,
come
girl.
on. Yeah, like it's, you're being invited, you're meeting people. It's like a theme. Like, don't ignore it.
It's in your space.
Yeah. It's in my face.
Yeah.
Literally.
Here.
Since I met you both, I was like, when I met you, I didn't even know this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were gonna be here, and I met you not too long ago. I'd say maybe 2, 3, 4 months,
A couple
if anything.
months ago, yeah.
And but immediately I was like, your voice, and like you talk so nicely, and it's conversations easy with you. It's like podcast, and I didn't even know you did a podcast already. And when I met you, I was like, bro, we should like start a podcast. Didn't I tell you that shit?
We said that a long time ago, more than 6
time
months ago, for sure. I was like, yo, I'm down. Because I had thought about it not as long ago as you did, but within the last like couple years, I would say a year or two for sure. Yeah. But I don't know, I just it's like, okay, it was never there. It was never in my face to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I was when you said that, I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, don't even talk to me about that because I'm super down.
Yes, I love that.
And it's funny, the divine timing, and that's why I asked like what gave you that little hiatus or what happened is because it's funny that we both kicked off ours at a very similar timing. Again, I don't know if it's the astrology or whatever's in the air in the sky. So I was like, what are the odds of that? Because I've had my stuff in my gear for a couple months. I moved, so things happened. Internal stuff was happening, wasn't ready. And then I know you've been building up the space too. So it's crazy how not only you and I think another person I ran into or know kick-started one too, and it's like, okay, everyone's getting on this ball game. So like you said, it's in your
this
face.
Year.
Yeah,
a lot of people are making pivots to other things.
Yeah.
And this space is only gonna grow. Like the online space, the podcasting space, it's only gonna keep growing.
Absolutely.
Everything's gonna move.
We have a freedom like of speech here that a lot of other places don't have. Like,
which is huge.
We could say.
Before you say it.
Oh look.
I'm not streaming on YouTube, so it's like
Got you.
I gotta, the plan, the vision for the platform is to have my own servers and host my own things, so I can say whatever the fuck I want.
That part.
And but until
mindful.
If I'm in under somebody else's roof, I have to, follow the rules.
Yeah.
Obey.
Well,
no, I don't have to.
Well,
but I'm doing it from
no, we got to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for certain things, we gotta speak in code.
He totally put you on a hold right there.
He was like, well, before you continue, because you never know.
Who's listening?
Yeah.
That's the only bad thing about like.
He gave us the whole cussing
right.
before too.
Yeah,
say whatever the hell you want, but wait though.
Except for that.
Say whatever you want except this.
Yeah, right.
The whole scroll comes down.
I need you to sign. No, but I feel like we have a freedom of speech that a lot of places don't have.
True.
So it's kind of like, why not just use it and say whatever you want to say? And somebody might gravitate towards it, somebody may not. But
even
I feel
if it's
like you'll
one
find
person too.
You'll find your people. You'll find your
there's
tribe.
so many
your
people
audience.
in the world, and the internet's connected everybody. That
Hell
it's
yeah.
like 100,000 people out of however many billions. Like that's it. You can live comfortably.
Yeah.
From so many people being your audience. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's gonna touch. It's gonna resonate with somebody like that. And I think that's also what, like, aside from it, like, being fun and informative, like whatever, like our own personal gain out of it. I feel like it's really dope when like you hear someone say like, oh, I heard your episode and it like I was having a bad day and I heard it and it made me feel like I've had people tell me that before and I'm like.
Yeah,
me?
That's huge.
Like, what? Like, but I don't have it figured out. And she was like, I don't have it figured out either, but I heard your episode and I got up and I got dressed and I felt good. And I was like, okay, I gotta keep going. Like, you doubt yourself so much. And then you're like, no one likes it. No one's listening. No one's viewing it. No one this. But then you just, you get that one and it's someone like a stranger, someone you're not that cool with. And you're like, really?
You would have never guessed.
You would have never guessed. Yeah. And I'm like, that's really dope. Because you feel so small. Like, how
you're just facing your own fears. Like, I've had to face many fears even before, like, hopping on camera. Like, it's been a constant process, just, like, putting myself out there, exposing myself. That's when you do it. You're speaking publicly. And, like I'm just facing my fears. And I haven't because I just got started. But, like, to possibly hear that I've helped someone with something just from like 2 phrases that I said.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I think
one of the things we're here for.
That's true. And to make people feel understood, like obviously whatever they heard from your podcast is they felt understood. And I remember I went away to school, and at that time I lived by myself, and I started listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of science, nutrition, because that's when my whole life was changing in that realm, and there was no one around me that understood that. And so when you're hearing people going through the heat of these things and being different, right? You're being the black sheep of the people amongst you. Feeling understood while just listening to that in my apartment and just like doing my things around that was huge.
Yeah.
So just being able to help that one or two people and letting them know, hey, their perspective resonates with me or you or other people, or that they are understood is everything, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we fall short of in this day and age, is feeling understood, or like you said, no one has it figured out. Girl, it's every day, and not even then. If you think you have it figured out, in my opinion, you are living in it. Yeah, you have this veil over you that is just, it's locked on. Because if you're not growing every month, every year, or whatever years, and you're not evolving into a new person, you don't ever have anything figured out, because there's always something new that's gonna pop up, or a new version of yourself that you're gonna have to readapt. You're gonna have to learn. You're gonna have to grow. And it's going to be a forever journey till the day you die. So to think you have it all figured out, you know, you got your job, you got your money coming in, you got your wife, your husband, your relationship, you're in a whole nother headspace. Yeah. Even, I think, what the biggest, in my opinion, that I really loved about the pandemic is, I don't care what tier you were in terms of social class or political class or religion, everyone got screwed by the pandemic. And in my head, it's like, I don't care what you have, what you think you have, because all that shit can disappear in an instant. And it's something like that I kind of giggled inside, because I'm like, oh, y'all that had this huge ego that think you had everything going on to you, done. It's done.
You in lockdown too, just like my broke ass.
Or some people that had it all, lost jobs. And it's not to say you deserve that or not, but like, drop your ego and realize everything we have or who we think we are can be gone. Our health, our sight, the way we look. We can, God forbid, we're in a car crash and you get burned. Like, all that can be gone.
And even having it doesn't represent anything, because internally it could just be a whole mess.
Yes.
You know, and it's like,
you can have the image and internally it's a storm. But so to
that's
hear
a lot
that
of
from
us.
people.
A lot of people.
I think most people are like,
it's just
through some
turmoil.
internal hell.
I mean,
I feel like it's been me for sure. I've gone into spaces and I'm smiling and bubbly, and like 10 minutes before I was like, I want to die, oh my God, just losing my shit. But then we become pros at like
putting that mask
on and saving face, and just like, no one can know, and I'm good, and it just, I'll cry again afterwards or whatever it is. But so many, like, we've just become like,
you know,
such
the
pros
worst
at
for
that.
me, talking about crying and feeling bad days, feeling blue, the worst for me has been having like an argument with my partner or my ex or whatever in the past, and having to go to work.
Oof.
And not finishing like an argument or something in the morning,
thing.
And then I'm like on the phone at work, running around in the hallways, fucking texting, crying on the bathroom and shit.
Oh my God! It's like you gotta put the argument on a sticky note. Like, we gotta come back to this, and you're like, oh.
But you can't, because your mind is racing. So there's no like,
there's no work being done.
Yeah, you can't focus. It's an internal. That's it.
When you have to go like somewhere, and it happens right before, and you're just like.
The worst.
That's happened to me.
I've pulled out sick because I've had like arguments in the morning. I was like, I can't go to work like this.
Damn.
Yeah. I've had to I think leave work or something, or like that's happened to me where I was like, there's no way. Like my energy's off. I feel like shit. I can't do it, and it's just like. And I feel like that should be a valid reason.
It is. I honestly believe so. They should have like emotionally sick days.
I'm sure. It's like, do you want me to go to work and be like an asshole to our clients or customers and unproductive, or do you like want my mental health to be okay, my emotional stability to be okay,
and perform great?
That should be a thing. I feel that should be a thing. It really should.
I feel like it's not. Unless you're like dying, you can't call off of work. And it's just like,
I feel like there should be a limit to it. Like, you can have like maybe one a month. Like, you can't be.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
No.
Everyone has
you get like, most jobs get like what, 10, 12. I used to get like 12 days sick, 11 days sick in like a whole year.
Wow. Okay, so that's almost
and it was a good job. So it was like a sick day.
That's true.
I just want to go out there and say, I don't think that women should have to work while they're on their period.
Girl,
We shouldn't have to
We
go
should
to
not
work.
have to do nothing. We should
I
have that
know.
day off.
Girl.
You have an argument. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be opposed to that, to be honest.
You shouldn't.
I agree.
First of all, because you're a man and you don't know what it's like. So,
Exactly.
so you can't.
but so
say
you
nothing
can't
about
even
it.
say nothing.
I'm
No,
a
but
spectator.
I cannot tell you how many times I've been cramping and driving, and
Oh.
I'm like,
Oh,
I don't know
God.
if I should be. I'm about to crash. I'm in so much pain,
It's not.
and I'm
fun.
like, why are we forced to go to work? And
Because the world is monopolized by the ruling of man. So
Ah,
I
come
hate to say that. But I mean, listen,
is what
I
it
gotta
is.
defend men here. That's just her opinion, okay? That's just her opinion. There's no facts to that, and if not, go listen to Jordan Peterson, okay?
Oh my God, no, but all that, man, emotional health.
no, listen. But let's be real. It's ruled by man at the end of the day. Let's not.
It
like,
really is.
But no,
Men are the
I mean,
head, women are the neck.
No, we control which way the wind moves. No, men, are you kidding me? I mean, I'm a feminist, but men have such a crucial role for us women.
They do.
It's not belittling them. It's not belittling us at all. If anything, and I don't like equal. It's just everyone each has its hierarchy. You guys have gifts that we can't really attain, and we have gifts that male can on a different biological intuitive level.
Yeah.
Very different beings.
It's like different species more
Almost.
than anything. Like there's some, and when you're also, just to bring, like you mentioned partners, but when you're with different partners, you think, oh, maybe it's just the characteristic of the partner, right? And when you look at different partners, and it's let's say you're with women, right? You've had 5 women from the past, and you dissect it. You're like, you know what? No, it's not a her thing. It's a women thing, And you realize, oh my God, it's not him.
Yeah, blame it
It's
on
a-
women, guys.
This is what men do.
No,
I
and again, even with the period thing, I mean, you as a woman, you got to also own that we are not ourselves. And every time, if I really feel it's gonna be like a not good one, and it's funny because I know I'm about to. Like I've had the symptoms the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And I'll tell my partner, like, hey, I'm sorry. Like it's that time. I'm gonna have a really short fuse. I'm gonna get pissy. I'm gonna get feisty. I'm warning you. Like I'm telling you in advance because I'm sorry if I say something I shouldn't say because I have no right to. It's the hormones, but you don't deserve to be on that end of the stick. But it can sometimes be very difficult to control. Like you can't control it sometimes.
And it takes a man to hold that kind of space.
Yes.
And understanding,
absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. So and also a woman to own it. Like don't abuse the man. Don't
Take
hold
it out
on.
on him.
Yeah. Or if you have stuff from the past, you use that menstrual cycle to lose your shit on them. Like that's not okay either. Because there's women that it can be not okay. Like it's not healthy to the way some women treat men.
Like they almost use it as to enable maybe bad behavior,
exactly.
which I feel like
exactly.
not at all.
I completely agree. But they also have to understand that it is very hormonal and it's very hard.
And
to
we
control
can't really
sometimes.
control it.
Girl,
like I can't
at all.
I can't control this at all.
It's like even yesterday I was telling my partner this today because yesterday I don't know if I was driving from work. I don't know what was happening. But I was just mad. I was mad. I had a little road rage. And I'm a person that smiles at everybody. I'm very nice to people. Like, at heart, I'm an amazing person. Like, I'm very happy, just in general. But it's hard for me to not want to smile at strangers or this or that. And yesterday, oh my God, I didn't want anything to do with humans. I was just mad. Any person that would look at them, I would just like hold a serious face, not give a shit. And they didn't do anything to me. But I'm like, oh my God, Jasmine, okay, you need to just go home, chill out, go with your little kitties, just watch a movie, do nothing. Like, don't go out.
I should try smiling to people. I'm the type of person that just kind of like
Really?
nods at you as you're going by, make eye contact. I'm like, I acknowledge you. I know I see you walking by me.
It's like
I
you
should
don't
try
want 2
smiling
minutes
more
there.
often.
You don't want to smile
should.
too hard. It'll be like a little
A creeper?
how you doing?
No, you should. I've noticed it does shift people's days.
Yeah.
And it has been done to me where it's like, why not?
Even the nodding, I notice how people like nod back.
Yeah.
just
And
feel
acknowledgement,
acknowledged.
exactly. But anyways, sorry. That was my comment on the period. But no. And then this morning, it was cute just on that. I woke up in the morning and my partner left. Like, he had the toilet seat down, but yesterday ate so much chocolate. I can't even begin to explain.
Chocolate.
Chocolate was my diet yesterday. So he got this dessert from the restaurant that he works at, and he left it on the toilet seat on the top, like where the bathroom was. And he goes, not until after lunch, because he knew I was eating sweets like a crazy person yesterday. I was like,
I love him.
Thank you. Yeah, like he understood. I was like, see, that's what it's saying. It's holding space, and even then, I mean, this is also another side note. I really believe you men get your periods depending too. Like it's
I
really
believe
real.
so. I mean,
in my
we may
opinion.
not menstruate, but I definitely feel like the
Emotional.
moon affects everybody. Yeah.
That's true.
The moon is related to the emotion, and like that's why humans are so crazy. It's because the moon is super close and it changes signs.
So you feel like the
every
moon
couple
causes
days.
you men
Every
to...
couple days, everybody. We just don't bleed, but we definitely have mood swings.
I think too you can get connected to your partner because I know mine is connected to me. So anytime I'm about to, I can tell he starts getting feisty. So he was a little feisty today.
That's
I was like,
so
"What happened?
funny.
Are you on your period now?"
I mean, I guess you're connected, so
In
one
sync.
shifts the other.
Yeah.
It's just the energy in the space.
Yeah,
I've
even
never
women.
heard about that with a man and a woman.
my
I've heard
God,
about it with women. Like me and my sister, when we were living together, we would get it at the same time. Even me on the phone with my best friend, I talk to her almost every day, and she's in California. We still get ours on the same time.
You're connected.
But I've
Or
never
like if you
heard
had
of a
female
man.
dog, I've heard about that too.
Oh, I
That's
didn't
so
know about the dog
interesting.
one.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's energy, man. It's the energy.
It's a
that
hormonal
yeah.
thing too, as well.
Yeah.
Same thing with my coworkers. We're in sync. And
Yeah.
there'll be times where if I
It
was
happens
hanging
with
out
if people
more
you're not
females
even close with, but you spend time with them. It's like,
in that environment.
all right, we're all on our periods. Everybody be careful.
Rage is about to happen right now. That's so true.
Funny. So happy birthday, Jazz.
Oh,
What's your
early
today?
birthday.
In a couple days.
Friday,
It's in a couple
Friday,
days.
Friday. Thank you.
Libra
thank you.
season.
Yeah.
Woo!
So
And it's a new moon in Libra.
today is a
Today.
big new moon in Libra.
Can you tell us more about that? I wanna know
So
more.
there's
Yes, me too.
we were touching on it a little bit yesterday, but
Okay.
it's a new moon in Libra at 13 degrees. So that means the sun and the moon are right on top of each other.
Okay.
And then Mars is right next to it, like a 14. So it's basically on top of each other.
Okay.
So it's a new moon with that Mars
Influence.
forward energy, desire energy, action energy.
Mhm.
So new moons are new beginnings in certain area of our lives. Depends on where Libra is in your natal chart.
What if
I'm
you don't
Libra
have
like
Libra?
You're
across
Libra
the
rising?
board. I'm Libra rising, moon.
Yeah, so
I'm
personality.
like Libra.
So
You're
your
Libra
personality,
sun,
there's a
rising,
new-
and moon?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
I
All
have your
three?
chart.
You
right
have my
now,
chart.
your
I'm like
chart.
I'm like
Your
fourth.
chart.
I think I'm Mars. I don't know.
What
I'm a
if
lot
you
of
don't
Libra.
have Libra in your chart? How does it?
Everybody has all the signs. You just might not
Oh.
have any planets on that sign. It doesn't mean. Hold on.
Yeah, because I'm like on my chart. I
It's not
don't
a
have
habit.
any Libra on my chart.
I
Yeah, I don't have it because it was way before. I had to like
Okay, wait, no.
re-download
I'm
the app.
gonna tell you. Well, which app was it on?
I used Time Passages,
That's
but
so
I had to.
Oh, that's a different
I
one.
bought the premium a long time ago, and I pulled your chart before I bought the premium.
I think I have it on the pattern. Let me check.
Bueno, if it's regardless, it's your birthday,
tell
so
you.
it's like really close to your your natal sun. So even if it's
Okay.
not your first house, it's still very powerful for you. And it's been like a Mercury retrograde happening
yeah,
the
it's
last
in
few
retrograde.
weeks, and Mercury went retrograde exactly square Pluto. So for the last couple of weeks or so, everybody's been realizing or understanding how certain structures in our lives, depending what area of your life it is, it's like can't go any longer. Yeah, so like
Interesting.
everybody's in that tip in different areas of their lives.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
with this new moon, it's like, okay, with that new understanding,
I can't find
there is like Libra is about balance amongst other many things. Relationships and balance are the two main
It's huge, yeah.
energy frequencies. And a new moon is like a new beginning, and with the way in which you relate to whatever needed to change. Everything in your life, depending on what house. For me, it's my environment and communication because it's the third house. And it's like, oh, this week I'm moving out of my house.
Okay.
Back with my parents,
Huge.
and like I'm gonna be spending a lot more time here. So my environment has shifted a lot, which is part of the new moon. So it's been crazy, and for whoever's birthday is happening now, is this is a beautiful new moon for like the rest of this year for you because it's really close to your sun. It's gonna be like very expansive and great. So congratulations!
Yes, happy
Thank you, guys. I feel it.
That's
Last
tight.
couple months have been, and I know I was talking to you earlier, just like a funk. It's just been weird. It's been very just plateaued. Just, yeah. So I'm excited.
Yes.
I feel it.
That's good.
We'll see
And
what
it's
it brings.
it's the new decade, right?
It's a new
30,
decade,
Yeah.
30.
So
Ooh,
that's what's
yeah.
I'm 31.
31.
Yeah. How old are you, Nadia?
31.
31. I feel like another thing with age too, and I was just talking about this with my brother earlier, is the way time is, the construct of time doesn't even make sense to me.
No,
no matter what anybody explains. And I feel like this thing of quote unquote aging, right? They make it have a negative connotation immediately. It's such a.
I'm loving getting older.
Oh, that's exactly where I'm referring to.
Bit.
Like it's like and it's also your decision, right? Like what we do on a daily basis. You can either get old and plummet old and have a miserable time aging, or you can kind of age like fine wine, right?
Yeah.
The more you love yourself, the more you get to know yourselves. I feel like you have this no F's given, basically, and you become so much more in tune with yourself. You realize no one can take you away from your own happiness, and everything happens with divine timing for your greater good. So accept anything that comes in, accept when things expire, and let them go out of your life. And to just surrender. And I think when you surrender, the process of aging is amazing. When you're always wanting to grow and be better, you know? So I love it. Like I just it's a blessing.
That's a great like is it relationship or like I don't know what the word I'm looking
Revelation.
for here. No, it's like
with aging.
It's like the way you age is sort of representative of your relationship to life.
Or to yourself.
Yeah.
Too.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the better relationship you have with life, the more you enjoy life, the better you age.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
That just came to mind.
I feel like
I
I'm
agree.
31, but like a part of me feels like I'm like a solid like 23.
I feel like we haven't even started on
yeah,
something.
like I like when I was 21, like my 20s were a hot ass mess. I had no idea what I was doing. I was fucking up, left and right, like everything. And like now, I feel like it's a new like decade, but I also feel like I'm like rediscovering so many new interests. Like I want to try so many new things that I almost
100%.
feel really young.
Yes.
Because it's almost like
Because we are.
you know, but you know, they tell you by 30, you should have a career. You should have
kids. You should be
so
married.
you're young,
Fuck
thinking
that.
by 30 I'm gonna have it all figured out. I'm gonna be stable,
Girl.
and I'm like, I'm so not stable. I'm still figuring it out, and I've discovered new things about me that I want to do. So it's almost like I feel like young again. Like I want to take this class. I want to learn this. I want to learn this, and because of what I've discovered and like my awareness just being so heightened, that I'm like, I didn't have this sense of awareness when I was young, but I still have this like really like young energy about me, and then I have this awareness. So it's like I'm 21 but better. Like I'm like you know,
we still have the youth, and we have
but I have the
more
wisdom.
experience and wisdom. Yeah, I feel like every year it just gets better.
Yes.
It's like every year that goes by is less fucks that we give.
Yes.
You know, ideally that's
You're
how you want it to go.
100%.
And I just feel like it gets better. Like you, I am finding new things about myself. I'm understanding myself better and deeper, and that allows me to have better relationships and like, enjoy the things that I do more. And I'm loving getting old. I can't wait to be 40, to be honest. No rush.
It's not even can't wait, but it's like imagine how much we've done in the last years, right? Because it's really our choice.
And so
the
much
last
happens
years.
in 1 year.
About what's gonna happen now that we have more power in our hands, and not power in a negative way, but like we dictate
awareness.
But like you said, like you want to take this class, you want to learn this instrument, you want to hang around on that person, you want to meditate more, you want to eat this. It's your decision. It's not our parents' decision. It's not our teacher's decision. It's not our guardian's decision. It's on us.
And you don't feel this obligation to try to keep up with this like societal standard. Like, no, I need to have a 9 to 5 and I need to go to college and I need to do this. It's like, fuck y'all. I don't have to do anything. I'm actually going to go do this and that and da-da-da-da-da. And if it doesn't make sense to you guys, it doesn't matter. It has to make sense to me.
Because you're the one living the life.
I'm the one that's living this life. And for a long time, I feel like I lived for other people and what everybody else wanted and what my mom expected of me. And now I'm like...
It took me years. It took me
years.
Like, it was 26.
It's hard because you're your blood.
It was 26. It was the first time I told my dad, like, I gotta do this by myself.
Yeah. Wow.
It took me a while. My dad has had, I love my dad. Amazing father, but he's had a big influence in me and like coming under his wing. I consider myself a late bloomer, but I also feel like I started turning like 29. My 30s kicked in. 31. I feel like life just started for me.
I agree. Really same. Especially kind of I've had that terminology of considering myself a bit of a late bloomer, and then I'm kind of like, I'm not a late bloomer because I'm not on anyone's time. So who's to say I'm late?
Yeah,
true.
I'm not on. You know, when you're a late bloomer, it's like I'm comparing myself to like you or whatever, and I'm like, I have to stop even saying that because that's also kind of like I'm behind still, and it's like I'm not behind. I'm on my own time,
on your own time.
But because I felt that way too, of like having to tell my parents or
you
my
and I
mom.
were born like weeks apart.
Yeah.
Because you're March
14th.
Yeah, March 14th. I'm April 8th. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
not even
We're
less than 3 weeks. So like your Saturn must be like really close to my Saturn. So like for people that were born around our time, I think everybody born around March, April of 1990 might have a similar sensation of being a late bloomer, because astrologically Pluto moves really slow. Pluto is the farthest planet, but it's like the destruction planet. It's the planet that destroys everything, and then it's like a fire over a rainforest, and then everything's dead, but then everything blooms even stronger.
Yeah.
So, and then Saturn is your reality, is your restriction, is your boundaries, is your father figure energy in your life. And Pluto, for the last year and a half and for the next year, is right on top of our Saturn.
Oh, wow.
So the last year and a half, 2 years, this year, next year, to some degree, this is like the peak right now. It feels like our entire, I feel like my life is like this, like
it's about
my old life is being like
based on what
like,
you said, I feel like my old life has been burned away. And wow, that just makes so much. You just like that. You just answered like so much of like just
girl.
doubt and shit that I had going on.
Your own timing, our own timing, yeah. So
that
I
is
feel
so
like
crazy. I didn't know
my
that.
process over the last few years has been like of immense progress and growth, but it felt so slow that it's painful. But I'm grateful.
Oh my God!
But when you see yourself,
that
where
part,
you stand
everything.
today,
I swear to God, that's so
true.
crazy. Low-key, I've chilled. I swear, like no, because that's literally like exactly what's been going on. Just old life,
it's been an
everything.
intense couple of years. Bro.
Yeah, especially like I moved to Miami right before the pandemic hit, right before my birthday.
Oh wow!
So it was like new city, you know, age still. You're 30 now.
Like early 2019.
Early, I came here February.
Oh my God!
Wow!
And it was like crazy. It's just been like crazy. And then I've discovered so much about myself in this last year and a half, almost 2 years being here, that like nothing has gone according to plan. Nothing. I came and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay at my sister's for this long, and I'm gonna get a job, and I'm gonna. Everything was like, no, you thought that's what you were gonna do, and like, it's been painful, but also like liberating, and also like. Right. I've been like grieving so much of like my past that it's been like sad, but also like a happy sad, because I'm excited for like who I'm becoming.
Because you feel you're done with it.
Yes, I want
like
to be done with it, and I think there's a part of me that still like almost wants to hold on.
It's that Pluto, it's gonna be a few more months.
It's like I was this person.
That tug and pull.
I was this person for 30 years, 29 years, like.
Right.
Come back, but it's like no, she's not serving you no more.
Yeah, let it go.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy, but it's good. I love it. I love getting older.
It really is. It's a blessing. I think that also comes with the like you're saying, this heightened level of enlightenment or spirituality, if you want to call it, that you realize how much power you have, and with that power comes this happiness and the shedding of that old version that is you, and so welcoming it with age, and. It becomes stronger.
So I have a question, since you mentioned spirituality. How woke is woke?
Ooh, I don't think there's ever. I don't think anyone is ever fully woke. Okay. I mean, there. That's a great question.
How woke is woke?
I think there's a huge sliding scale, because unless you are, and even then, I'm not going to use a monk as a definition, but unless you're a monk, not dealing with. I don't like the word reality, but not dealing with the world of people.
Like first world kind of problems?
Or just the world. Yeah. If you want to be isolated, you're going to have such a higher chance of being a higher level of woke. I think the challenge is being implemented with our daily life here, right? Like let's say our version of life. It can be anywhere. But like working, dealing with bills, dealing with access to food, dealing with a family, that's when the challenge of becoming to that level becomes, but it doesn't mean it's not attainable. I think your sword gets sharpened even further when you can apply that spirituality to this, Because anybody can go be isolated, not deal with anyone's shit, not hear anybody bitch at them,
It's
not
easy
deal
like
with
that.
road rage. Anyone can be peaceful. Even when I lived by myself for 5 years away from everybody, I felt like the largest amount of spiritual growth. Put me right back in Miami.
Yes.
Oh my God, I lost my shit. I'm
like
like,
when
there goes everything I
when
learned.
you're in that, like, maybe even if it's like your foundation, like let's say you had like a maybe not the best childhood or relationship with parents, and it's like you can get away from them and you're like, oh, I feel so much better, I'm good. But then you go back home and visit and it's like, like
Trigger
nothing's
galore.
changed, trigger went off. So it's kind
Yes.
of like, I think it's like being in the face of almost like temptation, right? Like if you're living with friends who like are all vegan and eat fruits and salads all the time, you're like, oh, okay, I can get used to this. But then you go home and you have brownies and muffins and this, it's like, do you still have that same discipline when it's in your face?
That's when the test comes to how woke you can get.
But is that what being woke is? Is it discipline? Is it peacefulness?
What is being woke?
I think
because
it's
a lot of people
Take
claim to be woke and are not. You have fake woke. You have the pretentious, I'm better than you. My woke is the best type of woke. So it's just kind of like,
the narcissistic woke.
Exactly.
Too.
Like
this is like so many wokies.
Narcissists drive me insane.
I think woke really kind of to like as simple maybe as I can put it is just how self-aware are you? I think woke really is like not about how much do you know of the world, how much do you think you can teach people, how smart you think you are with all these topics, but it's like how self-aware are you of yourself? How you could know all this about everything else to just distract you from not really getting to know yourself. So it's like, what's the point of thinking that you can come out here and preach and do all this and that when you haven't even dealt with your own shit? And I feel like you really become aware and you awaken that third eye when you really dive into yourself. And I feel like that sense of like of self-awareness allows you to like empathize with other people more, allows you to understand other people more, to find relatability between other people. But when you don't have that within yourself, it's like you're not really, you don't have much to offer. Like you're not really being of service like the way that you could be. So it's like if you're woke, like to really be like woke and like there, I feel like you have to have a really strong sense of self-awareness of like really just knowing yourself first before anything outside of you, outside of anything of this world, other people, items, subjects, whatever it is.
And it's a work in progress. There's a book about that. I don't know how we got into this conversation, but the question just popped into my mind. I want to mention it to you girls.
Is it Oneness?
No, it's called Awareness by, what's his name? I forget his name. Anthony DeMello.
Awareness. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's an audiobook and Audible. So if you have Audible, I highly recommend that book to everybody. Okay. It's not like the other books where the person's reading the book. No, it's more like a presentation. So you hear the audience laughing. It's very engaging. The guy makes it super funny, and it's just like very mind-blowing, eye-opening things that he says, and he uses a lot of analogies and stories that are funny.
I like that.
So it really sticks. It's an amazing book.
It's called Awareness or Aware?
Awareness.
Okay.
And
I have Audible and I like. I listen to shit when I'm driving all the time. So. Anthony DeMello. Awareness. Okay.
Cool. Amazing book. I've heard it like 3 times.
Yeah.
I haven't finished hearing many of the other books, but that one I've heard from the end multiple times.
Have you guys read or heard The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
Yeah, that's a good book.
I've heard about the book.
That's one that I've listened like 3 times.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And the guy who reads it too is funny as hell.
I read it. I didn't do audio.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
The guy who does the audio, he's funny. Like he
entertains.
He's entertaining. He changes his voice, like I'm the panda, and like changes his voice and stuff. So
you gotta get someone too, really, like either the contact grabs you or the voice is gonna have to grab you.
Yeah, one or the other. And that's both. That does both. Yeah. But that's one that I've had to go back. The subtle art of not giving up. Yes, Mark. Yep.
Yeah,
another one too.
That one's a good one.
That for me, just to tie it into the woke question is, I mentioned it to you, Daria. Is Welcome to the Fifth Dimension. I don't know if you've ever checked it out, if you've ever heard
Welcome
of it.
To the Fifth Dimension? Okay.
It's a book, yeah. And I think you made a great point on the awareness part of it, because so many people point fingers or they tell you which way to live or what to do. So having that self-awareness, I think, is a huge part in that wokeness. But I think also being able to realize that this is just a human experience, meaning nothing really matters. So, yeah, we go through these emotions of ups and downs as humans, but realizing you shouldn't take anything to heart, no matter what it is, a loss of a job, a loss of a relationship, this, that. Things happen and things are hard in those moments 100%, but realizing too that it's just an experience. I do not know what happens after this at all. But I think in all that, having the ability to function on just pure love, meaning anyone you talk to, friend or on the street, or your intention in anything you do is operating off of full love, is really that level of wokeness. And that's in everything you do, the way you conversate, your tone with people, your empathy towards people, being there to help a hand and not worry about money or what's in it for you. And being able to operate on that level in all things you do is huge. But many people only get glimpses of that.
Yeah.
So until I think it's hard, because I think so many people have to go to such a level to attain that. For me, it's something I think I was always kind of born with. I don't know if it was the way I was raised, if it's a genetic thing. But I've always... Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to ask you, because what if people don't know what that looks like? Like, what if...
100%.
Because some people don't know what that love looks like. They don't know what that...
You're right.
You know?
They never raised in it.
They weren't raised in it. They weren't taught. And I think it's, like, how do you learn what that looks like, or how...
That's a great question.
You know? Like, I'm like, how...
How do you know?
How do you know when?
How do you learn to what?
To like love, to like do things with love, or to try to like.
In my opinion, it depends if we believe in reincarnation or not. I think you don't figure it out until if reincarnation, is a real thing. Which as I've grown older, it's really made sense to me.
Me too.
Because there's times or points in my life. Even when I was younger, people would say how mature they think I was at like the age of 20 or this or that. And just ways that I would think or things that I would inhabit that it's not something I really practiced. It was just innate. I'm like, I don't know how I know these things or feel these things, right? Or intuition, let's just call it that too. I'm like, I feel like I've been here before. There's been lessons I've learned or that I know maybe at a young age that I never had any particular experience that made me learn this, so maybe it came from a past life.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe people will not and may never know in this lifetime for them. And I think that's
the next lifetime they probably will.
Or they're going to be made to repeat patterns, right? Let's say they're void of love in this lifetime by their parents. That they're going to be put in different situations in these next lives until it's learned. But that parent or that family or that relationship is put in their life to learn something right now. But until they learn it, they're going to be made to repeat it. And so they may not ever get it in this life. And I think that's why, even for myself, I've had to really remain humble and understanding and realize, you know what, maybe this is their duty for this lifetime. Maybe for that father, it was to provide for that kid, to put food on the table, to put a roof over their head. Maybe not understand the kid spiritually, maybe not be there in the deepest of conversations, but you know what? That father did what they had to do. Or that mother did what they had to do. So realizing, hey, you know what? People have had very different lives than some of us, or we all have different lives in general. How do you show someone that, right?
Yeah.
They may not until maybe in the next life they have a relationship with whomever in their life, or suddenly they've learned a lesson that they now know what it looks like.
Yeah.
And so they can learn that. And so I think that's where that level of what comes is going through these lessons life after life, or in this lifetime, right? If that's the case, who knows, to operate on that level. Because then maybe people have different versions of love, right?
Oh, yeah.
To me, and also this is my version of realizing it was innate to me, and this is a beautiful thing. The Welcome to the Fifth Dimension touches on is because even growing up, I never felt jealous. I never felt envious. Like I was never that person to feel that. If there was family members or friends around me that accomplished something, it's like I was happier for them than they even were for themselves or people around them, because everyone is either jealous. People don't like to see people succeed or be happy or be in a healthy relationship. But I never had that feeling. And even in romantic relationships, and even my partner, some of my partners never understood that. Like, how do you not get jealous? It's like, okay, don't get me wrong, there's moments where we might feel jealousy. That's going to be there. But ultimately, you know what? Whoever's supposed to be with me or whoever I'm supposed to be with is not going to lie to me, is not going to cheat on me. And I don't want to live in that state of what is my partner doing.
Control and all that, yeah.
So you know what? If I'm going to be jealous, and if you're going to give me a reason to be jealous, then that partner's made for me. So you know what? I'm not losing anything if a partner dares to do that to me. And if that's what they do, that's what they do. That's stemming from a hurt that they've experienced in their life. It has nothing to do with me. But
I think it takes a level of wokeness also to some degree to even feel a little bit of jealousy or any other emotion, but not let that affect you or trigger 100%. You,
control you.
100%.
Or like
You're right.
be woke enough or be able to create enough space within yourself that you're aware of what's happening internally, but you're also aware that that's a human being that's living his own or his or her own life experiences, and it's like respect people's processes.
Yes, 100%. You're right.
That's like
that part.
And everybody comes to this earth to learn something and to go through a specific process. I believe, and this has been coming up a lot lately, there is like an equal amount of free will and destiny. It's
okay,
like
so you're gonna have to give me that ratio.
I think it's equal. I think it's balanced, like everything in the universe.
Free will and
it's
destiny.
Like you came here and you're gonna cross the finish line, regardless of what you choose to do in the way.
But then how does free will play into that?
In choices.
But it doesn't matter because destiny is gonna end up.
So let me put it this way: free will affects the context of the experience, but the experience is predetermined.
I like that.
So
it's the process and how it's gonna unravel.
So choice determines the context of the experience, the flavor, how it looks.
But the experience is gonna be there.
But the lesson, the experience, one you needed to get
out
of
of
that.
Where's my notebook?
That's going on.
Okay. I'm like, I'm gonna have to replay this because I like that.
So you can't teach someone love. You can't teach anyone anything.
Yeah.
You can be a mirror for them. But
and I think being the example too, meaning someone that's coming at you with anger, you don't go back to them. Someone that wants to punch you in the face, you don't come back at them.
Yeah.
And do that. I mean, that's a different scenario. You protect yourself. But example's sake is you sit there and you
hold
be
your own
in peace.
space.
Yeah. Because people, what I recognize too is, and I'm reading a book too, so we're talking about books on what's it called? The Body Keeps the Score, which is mind, body, and like the brain, how it affects on how trauma affects it. Really good book, a little bit triggering because it talks about some real shit, but but something that I already kind of had thought within myself, just reflecting on my own experience, and it's like validated in the book, is that we learn from people based on what they do, not what they say.
100%.
Your mom could tell you, or your dad could tell you, like, what, like, clean up after yourself, or like, don't do this. But then if you see them doing it
goes out the window.
It doesn't matter what you're telling me. I am taking what you're doing. I'm seeing what you're doing, and I'm mimicking and mirroring that behavior.
Absolutely.
So it's like you could tell someone, do this. This is how you love. But if you're not showing it, and if you're not being an example of it, it's like words come and go. But you register people's movements and the way people are more than what they tell you. So being an example, being an example is really the only best way to teach anyone anything is lead by example. That's why that phrase is there. You could write shit out, but if they're not seeing you do it. Yeah. Even if they want to, and if they know what you're doing is bad, subconsciously their brain is saying, this is how you act, this is how you do this is how you do that, and then whether it's something good or bad. So that's why it's like with kids, especially kids being sponges, like babies, they listen, they watch, they look at you, and okay, how's mommy and daddy, how's this, so I touch this, and it's like just definitely leading by example. I feel like I have to circle back to that.
I agree.
I resonate deeply with that. Yeah, it's gotta be the energy. It's the energy, especially with kids.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I love how you're making the point of destiny and free will, but also balancing, like having that sense of emotions. And I think that's a beautiful part of being woke, right? Is knowing that being here in this human body, wherever this spirit or soul goes afterwards, I have no damn clue. But being here is giving us the ability to experience this human experience, which is touch, which is taste, which is feeling, which is emotion, which is rage, which is happiness, which is love. But I read this thing the other day, and it was saying something along the lines of we don't need more positivity in this world. We need more people that understand I forgot the exact verbiage, but basically pointing that we need to understand and have people that understand the polarity of the human experience, meaning the good and the bad, and how to adapt and work around it. It's one thing to just putting on that face and trying to be positive and happy all the time for media or this or that, but also being real, being like, okay, this is what's happening right now. This is what it's feeling like. But then making yourself that third party viewer, like pretend you're an angel hovering over yourself. Like, all right, Jasmine, you're feeling this right now. You're chill. It's because you saw this or because you felt that. It's okay. Cool. Calm yourself down. This is normal. It's gonna pass. Either you figure it out, you talk it out, you go do something to transmute that energy, and you carry that scenario from there. But I think that's beautiful that you said is just, all right, it's not that you're not going to feel these feelings. That's what being human is.
Yeah.
But then again, our thoughts also control that. But also relating it to being able to accept that and orient that situation from there, which I think is really important. And go ahead.
No,
go.
Just to that, like, that's that toxic positivity. Like how
I never heard that before.
It's like those people that are everything love and light, and everything is just peace, and everything is just everything's gonna be good, and like they never are angry, and they're never jealous, they're never upset. Everything is just gonna work out, and it's like, you're not real. Like you're not, like, that's impossible to, like, which I feel like it's like causes an imbalance in like the yin and the yang, like the light and the shadow. Like, if everything is always good, what is the real meaning of good when you don't have something bad to compare it to?
That's a good point.
Things are good because you remember when it was bad. Same with bad. This is bad because you remember what it was like to be good. So when people like toxic positivity and like that, you even saying like that the world doesn't need any more positivity, I feel like I agree with that, and I've had a hard time like finding how to say that without being like someone that's like negative, because like I'm not a negative person, but I'm very comfortable with, like, I've gotten very comfortable with speaking my ugly truth, because I felt like it's a part of myself that I suppressed for so long out of like shame and like not wanting people to think that I'm like negative or crazy or whatever. But now I'm like, when I talk about like my ugly truth or like the parts of myself that are not the most pleasant, that's when I feel like I relate to people the most.
Yeah.
Because it's real. It's raw, and we all feel it. And I feel like, especially like with the spiritual community, kind of like, I feel like there is this sense of like toxic positivity where everything is just good, and the moon and the and blah blah blah, and it's just like, that's not real life. Like, you need the bad. We're humans. We experience it. You hit yourself. It hurts. You lose your job. You're gonna be sad. You get into a fight. You're gonna be angry. Like, it's like I think the power is to not dwell in that, to not let that emotion control you. Circling back, but for you to completely try to ignore that part of you, you're ignoring a part of you that makes you human. Like
100%.
And I don't know. I'm like,
you're in a state of denial in a way.
Really, like, you think everything is just, life sucks sometimes. It's okay to say that. Shit sucks. Like, it's not always
rainbows
and
butterflies.
It sucks as much as it's amazing.
Yeah, it's not always unicorns and this and that. Like, that shit's not real. That's fake. And I just feel like, I don't know. Like, how do you guys feel like you guys have a good relationship with like your positive and like your negative energy and like embracing both?
Yeah, it's been like the darkness first, like all the trauma in my mid-20s, and like then having to get out of that, and now in my late 20s, early 30s, I've been finding joy, the things that bring me joy. I've been focusing more on like the importance of relationships and expressing my emotions. So, but I don't know, because of my astrology, blame it on the planets or whatnot. I feel the darkness very deeply when it comes. I've had suicidal thoughts for many years in my life. Never acted on them, but like, it's been there. Those deep levels of depression, and then moments in my life where it's like super amazing, and you gotta, everything is in balance. The world doesn't need anything. I would go so far as to saying that, because it already has everything it needs.
Balancing.
You see, and our gift is the experience of it all.
Oh my, gems are being dropped.
Hey,
boom, big bombs.
Hold on.
That's true.
That's beautiful. That's true. The world doesn't need anything.
Perfect as is, right? Imperfectly perfect.
Yeah.
In a way.
Perfectly.
And I think when we try to put like that extra positive spin or that extra negative spin, it's like when shit gets all like the equilibrium gets like thrown off, because it's like you need both. So just like take what you have to learn from both. Like there are lessons in the darkness. There can be gifts in the darkness. There can be power in that darkness, because it's your raw truth. It's what happened to you, and it's how you come out of that. And then there's power and love and abundance and the positivity and stuff. So it's kind of like
the darkness is the deep feminine. You know, if you wanna just talking about like energetically speaking, or like metaphorically and metaphysically speaking, the darkness is the feminine energy. So like when one goes to the deepest parts of oneself and the darkness and those horrible feelings of depression or whatever it may be, you find, like you're saying, gifts there. Because it's like something is being birthed out of that depth of feminine energy per se. If you want,
and the positive is like more the masculine energy.
If you want to look at that, because light. The void is feminine. That's why. So metaphysically speaking, the monster or the void or the monster, where the earth came from, it's the void. It's the nothingness. It's the feminine.
Wow.
And then light is like it travels in a straight line, or not a straight line, but like light is a force, it's a energy movement, linear per se. It's the I consider a masculine element. Mumbled a little bit there, but
I remember looking at it like it was some astrological thing, and it did say that like the negative was like feminine and like the positive is more masculine. There's certain signs that are like feminine and masculine signs, and there's signs that are that have masculine energy to it, signs that have feminine energy, and you wouldn't think like Libra, for example. Libra's a masculine sign.
Oh yeah, I know I have my masculine tendencies.
So signs that you wouldn't think are masculine, for example, Capricorn. Capricorn is related to like power and long-term goals. To me. It's a feminine sign.
It is?
Oh,
you see?
Okay.
So it's just...
I knew that actually, because I think me and all my sisters, which made me kind of sad, I think we all have like negative signs.
Really?
I was like, damn, we're fucked. No, but...
Like on the feminine and the masculine, like the negative is feminine. Like if you look at it in electricity, I might blow your mind with this.
Hey,
maybe.
Let's go with the polarity.
Do it.
So in electricity, the negative is the cathode. Is I don't know if you're familiar with electricity, but the cathode is like the bulk of energy that is just kind of like, and you see it like kind of like if you're seeing through a road that is very hot, that it kind of like waves. Okay. So a cathode is electricity, but it's not engaged. And when it comes to positive pole, it's what engages the cathode, and then you see the rays from one pole to the other. So the positive pole in electricity is kind of pulling the energy out of the cathode, which is the negative energy. Now, when it comes to your mind is the feminine aspect of that realm, because things come out of nowhere in your mind. They're just there. Now, your consciousness is the positive pole in that realm, because you're giving your energy to a specific thought or something that came from the feminine, and it grows and it grows and it grows. So the more you connect your consciousness to something in your mind, that positive masculine generates creation.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
I'm just like, that is, it all makes so much sense though, when like everything makes so much sense, because even like with birthing, like the male, the egg and the sperm, and like the creation of life, the negative, positive, the way the negative pulls the masculine pulls the feminine, like it's all so like,
it's so amazing how it goes from a macro viewpoint to a micro.
Like you can apply it to so many many parts of life.
I was talking about it yesterday with Andrea. We touched a couple of times on like the fractal nature of the universe. It's like the same thing. It's the same thing. Everything is the same thing. Yeah. You know, the universe, it's everything. So like we were talking about it in terms of cycles, like the moon, like the cycles of the ages it correlates to the cycles of like the sun, to the cycles of the moon, to the cycles of our bodies, the moon, the menstruation cycles. Like that with this masculine, feminine polarities. You see it in every level, all the way up and all the way down. And that's the nature of this experience.
That's why I think there has to be some divine creator, because for it to be so perfect it's like that. Say again?
It's you. Because
What do
you're
you mean?
it.
You're the creator.
True, yes, but like
you're
also
the creator and the createe.
and the createe.
Yes.
Yes, and I feel like there's got to be
something bigger, huh?
Something bigger.
There's got to be some alien pushing buttons
like
somewhere.
I don't. Yeah, because when you look at that perfection though, from that level as you're explaining it, to when you look at the roots in the earth, to our bodies and our veins and our blood vessels, to the way the stars and the skies look, to everything happening astrologically, it's like. It's from the massive viewpoint to the ground.
How can this all be one? We
know.
really are.
Yeah, it literally is.
We
We're
really
all just the same
are.
things.
We're affected by so many.
Just like pieces picked out of the thread, in a way.
Do you guys feel like you guys have a good balance with your feminine and masculine energy, or do you feel like one kind of outweighs the other?
I feel I'm very balanced.
I've gotten better.
Yeah, I feel I'm fairly balanced.
Yeah.
I got in touch with my feminine first. And lately, I've been activating my masculine a lot more.
That's interesting. Like you being a man, you know, like
It's important.
Yeah.
Because so many men, I
feel
think,
very
suppress
balanced
that
right now.
part, and women probably suppress
I
their masculine.
I would say mine on the contrary, because I know I grew up with a lot of boys. So I know growing up completely, there's a lot of masculine energy.
I think how your upbringing, of course, has to do with it. Yeah.
The tomboyish, that wasn't the way I would dress, just everything. And then over the last years, definitely more in the feminine. I would say now it's a fairly good balance, because like as he was talking and explaining your side, I started thinking, I'm like, am I more feminine or more masculine now? And I couldn't even fully feel that definition. So I feel like maybe more balanced. Maybe I have more phases where I'm feeling more feminine and other phases more masculine. But like on the grand scheme, I feel like pretty balanced.
That's good.
How about yourself?
I think I grew up around all women. My mom, my sisters didn't really have men around, so I feel like I'm definitely more feminine. And I've been trying to like get more in tune with the masculine side, but I feel like I fuck up because I'm an extremist. So I'll either be way too masculine and like too like I don't know, and then or else I'm like too feminine, like too sensitive or too this or too that. So it's like
there's nothing wrong with that, because I feel like
balance.
I feel we couldn't be both at the same time.
We
are both at the same time, but I feel like
overall, they're activated at once.
Yes, to some degree, there's one that's active at one point and the other one that's active at one point. And we all had it. We all have had it all our lives.
Yeah.
It may get unbalanced, but it's impossible for someone to never have expressed.
No, it might be dormant, but like it's there.
But it still shows.
Yeah.
I think it depends on who or what's happening in your life too. For me, I've noticed it with who, because I've noticed too with me when I'm in a relationship with a man, I catch myself being more feminine. But when I'm not and I'm single, I feel like it's like I'm trying to encompass both, right? So I don't have, again, I'm Libra, I'm balanced, I'm polarity to the core. So when I'm not with that opposite sex, it's like sometimes I'll feel myself to dress a little more edgy, a little more like masculine, a little more tomboyish. But then when I'm with a partner, I find the want. It's not even them telling me anything, but I find the want to dress more feminine or be more passive. Because you have that
masculine energy there, so now you're like,
Where I'm not, I have to encompass both of them.
That makes sense.
So that's why I like how he said it's a time and place. Like sometimes it's more, sometimes it's the other. And I think a big part of it is what's around you, because we're energy at the end of the day. We all know that. Like what's in the room, like you said, kids will pick up on actions. Well, we're picking up on energy too. Yeah. So if I feel that masculine energy around me more often and playing that role on a romantic level, I find the need to be a little more passive in the woman's
create
sense.
That balance. Yeah.
And I think the distortion too for us women nowadays as being feminists, which is it's a beautiful thing, but I think it's also been very detrimental to us, is we find the need to do everything, right?
Yeah.
We
don't need a man.
At all. Doing housework.
Yes, I do.
For multiple reasons.
I'm not about to change this flat tire. I need a man.
But I was also taught that, and also being very independent. So being in touch and learning how to be more in touch with that feminine means let him do that. Yeah. Like let me sit back and be a little more soft and passive. And not feel the need to get up and do everything of the masculine duties, right? Because when you're independent and you're single, you're doing everything by yourself. But really learning to be like, okay, no, Like, he can do that. He's stronger than me. He has those abilities as a man, which is what they're made for.
Yeah.
Let them take that space, you know?
And I feel like men want to also be allowed to be men. So when I've seen couples 100%. Where it's kind of like maybe the woman's a little bit more like assertive or aggressive or this and that, and it's kind of like, you don't even let me be a man. And
100%. 100%.
I think that's
And I used to be like that. So it's a very big learning lesson. Like, okay, step back. Let them do that, because that makes them feel like they're doing what they want to do, right? You men, as you guys, you want to be a protector. You want to be men are doers at the end of the day.
And a lot of times it's subconscious too.
Yeah, true.
With men, like
yeah.
So we'll go through
the feeling is there. The feeling is there to want to like provide and hold space and make sure you're safe and like you have everything you need. Like, it's there, but a lot of times it's subconscious. And I don't know. I'm not the best example for this, because I haven't had the most extensive relationship experience. But one thing for sure I've learned when it comes to masculine and negative, when it comes to romantic relationships, or any relationships for that matter, even with friends and family, it's the dynamic between the masculine and the feminine when holding space. Like, when somebody's feeling bad, and like, 'cause to hold space, that is a masculine trait. To be fully presence is a masculine expression of energy. Yeah.
So what's the opposite for that? I don't want to interrupt you.
The feminine expression of energy when it comes to presence is just utter expression of emotion.
Oh, so it's like a release.
But why is it?
It's like, just let it flow. Just whatever comes out. That's women.
I don't know. You probably don't have an answer, but just maybe your perspective. If it's masculine energy to like hold space, why do you think? Because it's like harder for men to open up. But then if it's
because women have a harder time, or women
holding
that are
space.
not holding space.
But even I feel like
maybe not a harder time.
From what I know too, though, like my guy friends that I have or whatever, it's like men. I feel like women hold space for each other a lot, but I feel like men don't hold space.
It's trust. I don't know what it is with men. I can speak from my own experience in my past relationships. Like, trust is a big factor. I've always been someone in the past, in my early years, late teens, all of my 20s for sure, but now it's changing. Late 20s, early 30s is changing. I've always been very closed off emotionally. That's just been my personal life experience. It might not be like that for everyone. So from trauma, whatever, et cetera, I think trust is the biggest thing. Like, I don't know, because every case is different. But I think for a man to truly open up to a woman, a man has to feel fully safe and trust that person. Like, there's not going to be, which is a delicate thing too, because if a woman doesn't have so much like ability to hold space, and a man opens up just a tiny bit, and that tiny bit triggers you just a tiny bit, and then you have a tiny reaction, that alone is like, whoa!
This is why I don't do it. And you kind of like,
why I don't do it, because I get shit. You know? Yeah, so that's
so
very,
crazy.
And it's very thin, it's very delicate, because how, I don't know, a man that is not in touch with his emotions, how does he even express emotions in the first place? Because it's not like a woman expresses emotion.
It's going back to like, how do you teach that? Like, if a man never saw that, if a man, there's so much.
I think it's innate though. Probably. So going back to your question, some reason I got that is it's innate. So when you feel that safety, or when you just kind of know, you'll recognize it.
You recognize it.
I think this makes sense, because if you never saw it, if you didn't like witness maybe your mom and dad having that, and so all you know is to like repress or like hold in, and then you have someone. But I feel like when you have that feeling of like safety, security, comfort, it might just come out like just intuitively, innately. It might just come out, which it's like a risk, a little bit of a risk,
100%.
And that's where it starts, when like your relationship with your dad and your mom.
Ain't that where everything starts?
I would be the kind of kid that would just like not really share anything, because from my mom. So like it comes from really early on. That trust for the opposite sex, it starts developing really young.
That's very true.
Same.
Yeah.
That's so crazy how that our like just relationship with our parents. I feel like that's that foundation that sets you up for everything.
It's crazy.
And that's,
how you choose your partner too is a reflection on your relationship with the opposite
1,000%.
Like you see your patterns, see it on how it was with dad. You're gonna start choosing that in the male or the woman that you pick too. So if you haven't healed that or at least recognize it for starters, you're gonna pick the same thing. It's gonna be
repeated trauma. You're gonna just keep repeating the cycles that you feel like you're familiar with from your childhood.
Absolutely, because that's what, like you said, that's what you saw, right? Yeah. So that's what you think is normal, or that's what you think is healthy, is because you saw it for so many years.
And you
not even think it. It's just autopilot for the most time.
True. Your parents, I feel like your dad, you know, they always say like dads are like your daughter's first love. Like they set that standard of like this is the type of love that I should receive from a man, and like. Maybe men always say like, oh, find a woman like your mom, or you know, whatever. So it's like that relationship is like extremely like pivotal to like what it is that you're gonna look for, the characteristics of a person. Even if you know like my relationship with my dad wasn't good or my relationship with my mom wasn't good, it's like that damn subconscious that like you just, because that's what you know and that's how love was presented to you and taught to you, you are just drawn to that. And then you have to have that awareness and be able to connect the dots of like, why aren't these relationships working out? What do they all have in common? And then what does that have in common with? And then you start connecting the dots and you're like, wow.
That makes sense,
They're all like this.
Wow.
And then that's when you're like, all right, I either got to talk to dad, or I got to heal this, or I got to do that. I got to start finding a different kind of man, because this is keeping me in that cycle. And that's
absolutely.
That was major for me. That was a major realization. My last relationship was at the end. That's what we realized. I was like, "Fuck, you're like my mom, bro," and I'm like, "I'm your dad." And we were able to make those connections to childhood traumas and things like that, and relationships with each other's parents. And it's crazy. And then the work was mostly internal. Yeah,
oh man,
to fix that.
That's the real work.
Yeah.
That's the work people you don't get paid for.
No,
you don't see, but that's the real work. That I had that revelation too in like my early to like mid 20s. I was like, why can't I have a boy? Why isn't this working out? Why do I fall for these kind of guys? And I was like in my car having a breakdown, and I was like, a lot of these motherfuckers remind me of my dad. That's the same feeling I had with my dad. And I was just like, because I knew my dad wasn't shit. Yeah. So it's like, I know my dad's not shit. Why? But it's just because of like what I received subconsciously. I'm like, almost like this is what I'm worth, what I'm deserving of, because this is what my dad taught me.
That was another thing I was gonna say is I think with many women it's not about complaining about what some women attract, but it's like, what standard are you holding yourself at? Yeah. The way you walk into that room and how you hold that respect for yourself is dictating now what man you're allowing to be attracted to you. So if you have really low respect for yourself, if you think you ain't shit but sex, you're going to attract nothing but sex.
That's exactly.
And someone that doesn't want to look deeper into you. Exactly. But when you hold yourself back and you realize this is what you're going to tolerate and nothing less of that shit, you're going to start pulling that to you. Yeah. But then again, it comes to recognizing those patterns from the past too, obviously.
Because I feel like you set the standard for how you want to be loved.
100%.
And people are going to meet you there. So it's like
at least at minimum.
Yeah, if you're insecure, if you're like, I don't know if I'm worthy of a relationship or of love, I don't know if I'm this, the wrong guy's gonna be like, well shit, if she don't think she's worthy of it, then she ain't. I don't think she's worthy of it. If 100%. She's not setting that standard, then for herself, what I'm gonna do it for? Yeah. And I found myself in that cycle a lot, and I was like, why? And then blaming them, and then I had to really realize you're choosing this because of trauma, because of what you've been through. You're allowing it, and it's not your fault. It's you went through. So you got to heal this, and you got to choose better, because it doesn't matter what you went through, what your dad did or didn't do or whatever. Like that doesn't define your worth, and that doesn't define the love that you deserve. And I feel like it's hard, man, to get there. And
it's hard.
You gotta go through some shit to get there, but it's like,
and you're gonna repeat it till you get there too.
Oh yeah.
And because we want love, like we're human beings. Who doesn't want love? Who doesn't want intimacy? Who doesn't want to be
literally wired for love?
That? Yeah, like I don't care what anyone says. At the end of the day, if you don't have some kind of source of intimate love, like I feel like we're being. I'm not saying for moments at a time. I'm saying for life, right?
Yeah.
I think that's ultimately what we seek for. So it's okay that it happens to us, that we get stuck in those patterns, but it's like at some point of being heartbroken by that same pattern, it's like, okay, you got to recognize this so that you can stop and then heal it so that you can attract.
Take that power back.
Yeah,
take that power back, because I feel like our parents kind of, we maybe think that what we went through like took a lot of our power away, and like you maybe something happened to you that you don't have any control over. You didn't choose for your parents to be this way, or for certain things to happen that you kind of feel helpless or powerless. Like, I didn't choose for this and it happened to me, but it's like, you're a child, whatever, but now you're an adult. Now you're a grown woman. Now you can make decisions. Now you've connected the dots. Take that fucking power back and give yourself the love that you have been searching for. And once you give yourself that, you're going to be radiating that, and therefore attracting that.
It's going to magnetize like a
that's like a huge
like
key.
A light. Absolutely. And I believe that in every regard, only partnerships and everything you do, whether it's money, whether it's career, whether it's friendships, things to heal, you just, once you have it within, it is literally a beaming light that you cannot shut off to the outer world. Yeah. Like, you cannot, no matter what happened to you that day, it's just not going to phase you. Yeah. You're going to keep beaming, and it's going to continue to attract.
That part.
And it's going to feel fucking good and powerful.
Man.
You can't be shut off, girl. Nah. What's happening, host?
Sorry, girls. A good friend of ours just told me that I forgot to change the tags on the bottom of the page.
You can edit it later, though, right?
I just changed it right now.
Okay,
I mean,
but wait, what do you mean the tags?
Yeah, because there's a slate on the bottom of the thing, and now it's on all black.
I'm like, we good, right? I thought he was gonna be like, sorry guys, it didn't record. I'm like, damn.
No, we are live. We actually had a lot of people chiming in.
Hi guys.
Oh my God, chiming in.
Yeah, well, that was my bad, I guess.
No,
I mean, everything's in the description, so I forgot to change it.
We out here, man. They know.
We out here, it's just live. It's live. We out here fucking up. I'm fixing it up and learning on the way.
We humans doing human shit. It's okay.
Being newbies and shit.
It's all good. It's all good. This is a great combo. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, so, we've been at it for an hour and a half.
Dang.
God damn. The funny thing is I could go for like 3 more. I think that's a good amount
of time. Yeah. Usually, how long are your podcasts usually?
I try to keep them like under an hour just because I don't know how long people are going to listen. Yeah. But I've had some that are like 30 minutes. I've had some that have been like 45-ish.
The solo ones.
The ones by myself are usually a little bit longer. I think.
I'm the best guest.
But you're most entertaining.
I'm entertaining myself. I just be talking. I have like a few that are like 20 minutes, like a quick little, just something quick, but they kind of vary, but. Nice. I don't know. I feel like I don't know how long people would listen to. So sometimes I'm like, if it's too long, like, is someone gonna listen to it?
This has been a very engaging conversation.
It has. Yeah. I would listen to this shit, not just because I'm in it. This is really. This is the type of shit though that I would like. Because I listen to podcasts that are like an hour long. Like I do the dishes. I'm like driving. I'm in the shower, and I'm like listening to them. So maybe I feel like there are people. Maybe I'm just kind of like, let me just make it.
I think an hour is good at like.
I think so too. I think an hour is good.
Once I see 2 hours, I was like, hey, okay, I'm not gonna last the whole damn thing. Yeah.
I don't mind the length because if it's interesting, I want to continue. I pause it and I pick it up next time.
That too, and YouTube. Yeah, I mean it's a video, so it's fun to like see the people too. So
engaging.
I
gotta put it up in iTunes and Spotify. I gotta do it. I gotta start doing that.
I need to do Spotify. I'm not on Spotify. I'm just on SoundCloud and iTunes.
All the platforms.
Apple was a pain in the ass for me. Yeah, I did Spotify and SoundCloud. I haven't done Apple because it wasn't verifying my ID. I was getting so pissed, and so I was like, you know what? I don't need Apple Podcasts right now.
I did Apple really quick. I can't remember.
Well, I think it was because it made me do. I did a different Apple ID, and it wasn't verifying. Like it wasn't an issue with
when that happens,
and I don't know what to do. I did it literally over 20 times. I'm like, I'm top out of this.
I don't have Spotify. Like, I don't pay for Spotify, so that's why I'm like, I don't know.
I didn't think of that. I do. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that's probably why. But
okay. So if you girls want to call it, I think we've talked about so many things. I gotta go over it again and change the title.
All right, no worries.
I'm I'm
putting what we
excited.
talked about.
When will it be like tonight? It'll be.
Yeah, right as soon as I hit end stream, it's up as a video.
Hey, we lit.
It's amazing.
I'm
So let's say goodbye here. Pop it on camera.
Thank you, ladies.
Where are we laying?
We're
We're
looking
laying that
over
way.
here.
This was amazing. Thank you
Yes.
so much. I hope you guys
Thank you,
enjoyed. Whoever's watching this.
Yes.
And catch you in the next one.
Yes.
I
love it. I love it. This was fun.
Good girl. I like it.
So what's up? We gonna be weekly guests or what's that?